Well, this is kind of a .5 issue for my Final Fantasy VIII text play, because in that last issue I actually wrote, I said I was going to make a video where I try to talk about, why I usually wind up quitting the game, usually, about this point. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that, they dumped a lot of, heavy philosophical stuff on us. And essentially the cutscene that took up the majority of that last chapter or that last issue. Where basically they were saying that, yeah, we're, all committed to our course now, and we're gonna, go ahead doing what we've been doing because we're, pretty much committed to saving the world this way, and if it's what we've got to do, we're gonna do. You know, and that the characters, I actually had to stop and discuss that, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. See, it didn't really sit particularly well with me because, after all, these characters are supposed to be, heroic and valiant and all of that, and I know they're supposed to be, like 20 at the oldest, and yeah, I remember being that age, and it's hard to know exactly what you want to do and what you think you ought to, but at the same time, these are, people that have been training their whole lives to, fight battles and win wars and shit like that. And, basically they have to stop and talk about, how, yeah, we're going to be committed to this course. Granted, the reason for that is that, they've just, come to the realization that, yeah, we're pretty much going to, have to, kill this, mother figure that ran the orphanage we all grew up in. But, another thing that kind of stops me, at roughly this point is basically, the part of that cutscene leading up to where they, hit us with all that heavy philosophical stuff, is basically one of the characters telling the rest that, hey, I grew up in an orphanage with 5 of you, and you didn't seem to remember. And, bringing that up didn't seem like an important thing, until just now. Nor did it actually, just, come up in an offhand conversation that might have been, interesting to see in the game somehow. Uh, you know, I mean, like I was saying in that, in the written chapter, issue 20, I think it was, or actually, I know it was. I actually, live, here in my hometown, and so do actually quite a few of the, high school and basically just general school classmates that I grew up with. So there's at least a chance I could run into them, and, we'd have our conversations about, oh, hey, how you doing? Long time no see. How you been? Remember that time in, 10th grade geometry? Because that's just how, people talk when they're, having idle chit chat with one another. And I would assume that, since we're supposed to, see these video game characters as human, that we would, assume that they'd have conversations like that too. And, you'd think, like Squall and Irvin would just have their, conversation, and, you know, uh, Irvin would say, hey, Squall, remember that one time when you were, 5 years old, and, that thing happened and you reacted kind of like you are now? Apparently not, and there's that Derek fellow I mentioned in the written post that, I actually, you know, you know, I work with him. We're coworkers, and we went to high school together, and you know, one of us is gonna, if we get to, if we really do get to talking to one another again, there's half a chance that one of us is gonna say, hey, remember that time in, you know, gym class when you got hit in the face with the volleyball or something like that, and I'd have to like tell him that yeah, I had to get new glasses because of that, or I mean things that you don't necessarily think about but you remember, and then there, it's basically, the reason that Squall and everybody but Irvin is saying that, hey, we don't remember this because we've been using these Guardian Force things pretty much right from the start of our time at this military academy we're working at. And they're not thinking that, hey, there might be some conspiracy to this, some plan, because like I mentioned earlier, turns out the person they're gonna have to kill, was the nanny at the orphanage that they're gonna that they all grew up at and are now gonna have to go back to looking for clues. And that kind of takes my interest out of the game for some reason. Not quite sure why, but that's kind of how it works for me. So it might be a while before I actually get around to updating that again. Updating that particular text play again, because I'm actually kind of deciding what I want to do. If I want to continue. If I do I want to, go on, a few of the side quests like the strategy guide I use recommends, or if I just want to try and get on with the story, because maybe the story's more interesting than I give it credit for, and basically, if I want to give this game, a fair assessment, I really probably ought to play more than a third of it. So, excuse me. But the question that I really have in mind is, do I even really want to bother? And I'm thinking, yeah, now that I've started, I probably should give it more of a chance than I have when I was just playing it for myself. So basically, I think at this juncture, the question I have for you folks, my readers and viewers, is, should I try for some of the side quests, or do I just want to continue on with the story so I can, actually get on with it and see if it actually does, get better or stay at least halfway interesting, maybe? Because, I actually kind of like to give this game some fair thoughts on it when I finally finish it, be it actually finishing the game all the way or just deciding that I'm done with it. So, anyway, thoughts, suggestions, go for, is there an interesting side quest I can do now that might get my interest back up, or is the main story gonna, be the way to go? Not exactly sure. I'd appreciate some thoughts and comments on that. I'll be taking those into consideration along with my own ideas. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing comments, suggestions, and I will try to get back to this as soon as I can in the near future. Thanks for reading and watching, everybody. I'll see you when I see you, I guess. Have a good day.